All right, everybody, welcome to Total Body Conditioning, but this won't be total body. We're going to do a workout for strength and stability for the knees. I did this because my best friend Julie Bush just had double knee replacement. And so we're going to do some of the exercises that she's doing to build stability back into her knees. All right, so I want you to start with your feet a little wider than hip distance apart, hands on your hips, and you're going to do tiny, tiny squats. So we're going to build this joint from the inside out. Just nice, easy, as small as you can get. We're going for inner strength first, and we'll do the outside too. All right, go ahead and come down into a baby squat. Bring your hands to your knees and just rub your knees in hands in circles around your knees. The first thing we want to do is just totally show love and appreciation to these joints. All right. From here, bend and straighten again and see if you can feel the bones underneath your hands, the ligaments that support them, and the muscles. We want strength and stability here. I'm going to do 4 more baby squats. 4, 3. Now, as I work a little bit deeper, you get to decide what your knees want. So if I come down into a little deeper squat, I haven't had hip replacement or knee replacement. And so you might not feel great doing this. All right, we're just going to do 8 more squats, getting us warm. 7, 6, beautiful. All right, now go ahead and turn to the side and let's look at lunges with knees protected. So you're going to have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. All right, now depending on where you are and what your knees love or don't love, your lunge might look like this. Very much like the squat. I'm up on my back toes. I'm doing baby lunges. So you can take any of my total body conditioning classes and you're going to do lunges that look a little bit more like this. You're building stability from the inside of those knees. 4 more. 3, 2, and switch legs. If your knees feel strong and stable, you're going to come down a little farther. So ultimately, we want these 90-degree bends in our knees. All right, so maybe yours is smaller, maybe yours is bigger. Everybody's got their own lunge. 4 more. All right, come back up, feet together. So another thing we want to focus on is lateral strength that comes from up here in the hips. But we have large muscles and a large band of connective tissue that wraps from pelvis to the lower leg. So lateral work is going to help us give stability to the outer knee, the lateral side of the knee. Let's do 8 more. 7, 6. And again, depending on where your knee is, maybe this is a small range of motion. If you don't feel super stable standing on one leg, you're just going to take it smaller. All right, feet come a little bit wider. Hinge from the hips. Keep your knees soft. Hands are going to be right here. Take a stretch for the hamstrings. And if you keep your knees bent, it's going to feel softer here. If you straighten your legs a little bit, you might get a little more stretch. The knees are the boss. Okay? So we have femur bone, we have tibia, and we have patella, the kneecap. Those are the 3 bones that we're talking about here that make up this joint. Go ahead and come up. You can do this next one in a chair or with your hand against a wall for balance. We're going to stand on 1 foot and we're going to extend the knee and flex the knee. Yours might look kind of like this, right? You might not have full range of motion, but these are the 2 actions of the knee joints, the hinge And it's only made to extend and flex. It's not made to twist or move sideways at all. All right, let's go ahead and switch. Sit or stand. You have 4 main ligaments that hold your knee together. You've got your LCL, that's the outside. MCL is the inside. And crossing inside of the joint is your ACL. And in the back is the PCL. So you've got all these ligaments designed to hold this joint nice and stable. All right, go ahead and come to a wider position. You want your knees aligned over your toes, always. Tiny squats again. And let's just see how that feels. Now we're asking a little more of these medial ligaments, lateral ligaments. So maybe your squat is small, maybe it's a little bigger. So always glance down and see if this bone is in the same line as those toes. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Let's take a quick little stretch here. So hip flexors and quadriceps. We want to keep flexibility along with our strength. Both are important. Switch. All right, before we get to our band exercises, I want to talk about the feet a little bit and how feet and knees work together. So our feet are designed for stability. Our ankles are designed for mobility, and our knees are stable. So we're going to just do a little bit of work for the feet. So you're going to come into your squat, you're going to hold your knees, and I'm just rocking up onto the toes of one foot, the toes of the other. So we want to work to have strong, stable feet, healthy mobility in our ankles, strong, stable knees, healthy mobility in our hips. So we're strengthening the calves, which are also muscles that connect to the knee. Calves come up from the bottom, hamstrings come down from the top, quads in the front, adductors in the middle, abductors on the outside. All right, are you ready to grab that band? We're going to do some exercises lying on our back. So ease yourself to the floor however you can. And, you know, maybe you're doing this on your bed. Whatever you got to do, right? The band comes around the bottom of the feet. And we're going to kind of cinch up so that we've got some good tension. And we're going to do little leg presses. Again, yours might be really small. Might be really easy and small. We're going to start right there. And in my humble opinion, you can't do enough of these. This is building that stability deep inside that knee joint. All those little ligaments that hold the bones together, all the tendons that hold the muscles to the bones. Building strength and stability here. Let's do 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, and 1. Now you're going to leave your right foot in, just drop the left foot. Same thing, bend and straighten. If you have more mobility, you can take it down a little farther. Knee comes a little closer to the chest. If you want to challenge your core, you could take that leg a little farther away from you. Okay, so again, you're listening to your knee. These movements are small or big or anywhere in between, and you're completely in control of the resistance on this band. Let's do 4 more on this side. And the way to know if you're overdoing anything is if you feel sharp pain. So when you're doing something like rehabilitating a knee injury, it's hard to know because you're in probably constant, steady discomfort and occasional pain, right? So you really are in a listening. Your body is communicating to you all the time. When we ignore it, it never goes well. When we listen, we become good students. Our body becomes a very wise teacher for us. All right, so, physical therapy is all about patience. And some of these movements feel repetitive because they are. And you might get bored. But if you're trying to regain strength, it does not happen overnight. It's consistency, small, intentional movements over time. Let's do one more set with both feet in. Cinch up, bend and straighten. Small or large, you choose. And you can use any kind of stretchy band. You can use the flat TheraBands. Use these exercise bands. Something with a little give to it. How about 8 more? 7. Okay, go ahead and release the band. Come down. Roll over to your left elbow. We're going to do a side lying exercise. So now this band comes around the top foot, and you can hold it with one hand. So you can be up on this elbow. Just make sure you're not crunching into the shoulder. And then we're going to do a variation of what we just did. Just bend and straight. And you get to decide a little or a lot. A little or a lot. Let's do 8 more of these. Press with your heel. All right, the leg stays straight, lift and lower. So now we're back into that abduction, those lateral muscles starting from the hip, wrapping down into the lower leg. Stability here. Four, 3, small or big, 2, and then hold right here. Flex your foot, tiny pulses. Listening to the inside of that knee, maybe just holding is where you start before you start putting movement in. It should burn a little bit up around the hip. 8 more. 8, 7, 6. And release. Flip around to your right elbow. The band goes around your left foot. Prop yourself up on that elbow so you feel stable. Core stays strong, and we press. Even if you're not working to rehabilitate or stabilize a knee, let's call this preventive. You're getting some great hip work, and you're building stability in your knee, and we can all use that. Beautiful. 6 more. Press with your heel for 4, 3, 2, and hold it out there, and then lift and lower. How are we doing so far? Okay. So someone who's just beginning the journey of doing their physical therapy might not be ready. This workout might actually be a little aggressive. So I want you to think about, let's come up and hold and pull. Think about doing these movements super, super small, just micro movements, maybe even without the resistance, just that small stabilizing movement. If you are cleared for takeoff, you're just gonna go bigger. Let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay, from here, we're just lying down on our back. Our feet are back in the band, both feet. I'm gonna wrap in a little bit of core now while we're working on these legs. All right, so hold on to the band and then lower your legs and lift. Lower and lift. Your abs stay in tight, core stays strong. So the muscles that come down around the knees also come up around the pelvis. All right, so it's all connected. 4 more. If it feels comfortable to you, kind of tighten up your quads, lock out your knees a bit, build that stability there. And then turn, it's a little bit harder with the band, turn your toes out. So separate your feet. Yeah, there we go. Lower with your feet turned out. So you got to get some decent tension on the band so you don't lose it like I just did. Stretch the feet out apart. So external rotation, we're working around the hip and the outer knee. Beautiful. Two more right here. Core stays strong. Brace that core. Press your back down. All right, now come to center. Separate your feet and pulse out. Out, out. You're gonna feel that more in the hips, but we're definitely stabilizing and strengthening the outer knees. Hold the legs wide, lower, and lift. Tiny or a little bit bigger. The back gets to be the boss on this one. 4 more. 3. Feeling intrinsic muscles deep in the hips, deep in the core. All right, bring your feet together. Hold this band pretty tight. Make tiny circles, both feet drawing a circle on the ceiling. And go the opposite direction. All right, beautiful job. Go ahead and separate the feet again as wide as you're comfortable. In, out, in, out. And even though there's not resistance coming in, create some. Imagine squeezing a beach ball between your knees so you're pressing out and pulling in. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Now with loose resistance on the band, take your legs as wide as you're comfortable to stretch the inner thighs. So you're holding on so you're not going too far to strain, but just stretch the inner knee, inner thigh. And back to center. Gently pull the band towards you. You can soften your knees. Find a nice little hamstring stretch right here. All right, release the band. Let's get a little action here. Let's come back up to our feet. Easier said than done if your knees are not happy. All right, so we are back in our squat position. My knees are lined up over my feet, and I'm coming back for 2. And remember that we start small and we let the knees be the boss. Maybe even hold your knees. See what they're up to. So what I'd like you to focus on is, rather than going really deep, focus on the knee extension. So as you come up, your quadriceps tighten, your kneecaps lift a little, and you're really working on that extension phase. This is knee flexion, this is knee extension. We'll do 4 more squats right here. All right, check in. How are your knees doing? All right, go back to either a chair. You can sit in a chair. You can stand next to a chair or hold the wall. We're going back to those knee extensions. So hand on the knee, extend and bend. Remember, your range might be smaller. It might look like this down here. You might have range up there. You decide. This is full range of motion for me, all the way up and about that far. If you're getting fatigued, you can hold under that knee, kind of help it stay up there, because the purpose is not the strain of the body. The purpose is the stability of the knee. 2 more. So you can help yourself out a little bit. And then we'll switch. Find your balance, extend and bend. Intentional about a small part of the body. That's anyone that has knee pain or injury or surgery is going to tell you it's a showstopper. You don't have well-oiled hinges, life is tricky. Last 4 right here. 3. Good. 2 more. All right, let's come back to our squat position, and this time we'll do that plie. Remember, this one's a little bit harder, so you're going to start tiny. You're just going to start with what you can do, what your knees say yes to, and if you get the green light, go a little further. Never override those pain sensors. They are speaking to you. They're like a child, and if you don't listen when they're whispering, they're going to start to scream. You've got 4 more. Push into your heels. There's a lot of stability in the back of the body, so when you push into the heels, you get to use your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves to support that knee. Okay, let's come back down to the floor. We're going to finish with bridges. All right, so our feet are parallel, and we're just going to press up into bridge and down. So it's really important that your feet feel stable here. Knees are lined up in the direction of the toes. As we come up, we are strengthening the glutes, the hamstring, the back of that knee. The knee's moving like a hinge. We're building stability above the knee. Let's lift 4 more. Bonus, you get to strengthen your back and your glutes. All right, drop your hips, turn your toes out. Now, before we lift up, I want you to make sure your knees feel comfortable here and see what happens as you come up. We've changed the angle of the muscles. That doesn't work for you. Keep those feet parallel. Beautiful. Lift for 2, lower 2. 4 more. 3. 2 more. Hips stay on the floor. Turn your feet parallel again. Now we're going to just progress. So lift your toes. And before you lift up onto your bridge, just see how your knees feel. Even to start lifting, you'll know if this is a green light or not. We're coming up for 2 on our heels. So that's requesting more strength from the muscles of your legs. Your knees may or may not be ready for this yet. The knees are the boss. Good. Beautiful. 4 more right here, straight up and down. Changing it up, hips on the floor, drop your feet. Bring your heels in just a little bit closer. Your knees get to decide. Try on your toes, all right? And so for a lot of us, that could be enough right there, just holding that position. Press into your toes and lift your hips. Now we're asking the calves to come in and help a little bit, and the calves are connected to the knees. Bonus, you're strengthening the feet with this one. So I think you're getting the idea that repetition and small movements are the ticket, keeping our body healthy. So many ways we can move the body in small ways. Preventative, go ahead and lower. One more thing, feet are gonna come out wide. So if you have a mat, your feet can just come off the edge or maybe half on, half off. Let's do a wide bridge. Let your knees decide how far you lift, how far wide your feet go. This gives you the chance to squeeze the outside of your glutes a little bit more. A little more glute medius, outer edge. 3, 2 more. All right, the feet come back together. We're gonna do one more set of bridge, and it's with that leg up in the air. So option 1, stay right here and just work on your extension. If you're getting the green light, lift and lower. And as you lift, you can do a little extension and a little bend. It's advanced work, everybody. Listen to your body. Listen to your knees. 4 more. And switch it. Other leg up. Test the water, maybe it's right here. Up for 2. And you can add an extension at the top. Anywhere in between. Maybe you're staying on the floor, maybe you're really bridging up high. Let's go, 4 more. And 3. 2 more. All right, both feet on the floor. Fingertips behind your head. Take a nice slow lift and lower. Let's get into that core. Leave the knees alone for a minute. Let's leave with some core work. Sometimes when you're dealing with an injury, it just feels good to work the rest of the body. So we'll do a little bit of that. Press your head back into your hands. Squeeze your abs in nice and tight. Pulse it up for 3, 3, 2, 1, and lower. 3, 2, 1, and lower. Lift up 1 and then lower down for 3. Up 1, lower 3. Lift 1. All right, crossover side to side. Elbow to the knee. Eight more crosses. 7. Take some deep breaths. Send oxygen to those muscles. And release your head. Hold behind your legs. Draw the legs up. Get them as straight as you can. Little bend is fine. And then lift and lower here. A little bit different. Should feel a little bit more in the low belly. This is a great time to practice knee extension, tightening up your quads, lifting up your kneecaps. Up and hold. Flex your toes down for 2 and point your toes up for 2. All right, so while we're working our core, we're working these shin muscles and then these calf muscles, and they all wrap up to support that knee joint. Lift a little higher with your shoulders, flex and point. Beautiful. Lower your head, arms out to a T, scissor your legs. Core plus stable knees. This can be small or big. Just press your back toward the floor. Try not to arch up too much and strain that lower back. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Hold the backs of your knees. Rock yourself up to a seat. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of stretching. So I want you to start with your knees slightly bent and your spine tall. We're gonna test the waters here. Reach to your toes. So however bent you need your knees to be, straighten your back and then work towards heels out. This might be your place. Maybe a little more, maybe a little more. See about stretch. Now, if your hamstrings are super tight, put something underneath your legs. Even your arms will work, but blocks, pillows, come up underneath your legs with some support. I'm gonna keep my back flat and stretch toward my feet. Taking some deep breaths, stretching both calves and hamstrings, the back muscles that support the knee. All right, go ahead and release this. We're gonna come over to one side, back on the elbow, and reach up to hold this ankle. Depending on your knee, that could be your stretch. Maybe your knee is happy coming back. Depending on the range of motion that you have, stretching the quadricep and the hip flexor. You could put a band around your foot here if that's helpful and have your leg back there a little bit more. Deep breaths. And we're just going to release that slowly and bring ourselves around to the opposite side. If you're using a band, it's gonna look like this. So maybe that leg's out there a little bit farther away from you, and you're just gonna bring it back to where you feel a little stretch in your quadricep or your hip flexor. On your elbow, try to lift up out of that shoulder. Take deeper breaths. Fill up and empty out. So I just want to say at the end of this workout, I'm so proud of my friend Julie. She's young. She's too young to have knee replacements, but she was living in so much pain. And so she decided to have this done. Go ahead and come up to a seat. One more little stretch for the inner knees. So soles of the feet together. And if this hurts your knees, hold on to your knees here, support them. You could also put blocks or bolster something here under your knees. We're just gonna sit tall. So through all of the pain and challenges of surgery, Julie keeps a smile on her face, even when she's wincing in pain. She inspires me and so many people to do hard things. So whatever pain and hardship you're dealing with today, just channel my friend Julie, and I hope that helps you feel a little better. I hope this practice, this workout has given you a few things to think about. Take your hands and once again, just rub your knees, give them some love, tell them thank you for being such important body parts. And let me know if there are any other body parts, any other situations I can help you with on these videos. I hope you have a great day.